All right, today we got Tez Talks. We got Tez Arbertha with us today, and we're going to talk about wholesaling. And this is going to be the basics of wholesaling. This is for agents who want to understand better what it is, or if you're brand new, you want to get into investing. This is kind of the first step that a lot of investors can take. We're going to talk about why and how, and Tez is the expert on wholesaling here. And so we're going to talk into about this. So give me the basics of what wholesaling is.
Absolutely. So wholesaling is almost self-explanatory. There's a lot more stuff that goes into it, right? Buying low, selling high. Right. We get that. How high can you go? It depends on the formula, things like that. But basically what we're doing is we're going under contract on the property, right? We're going under contract with a seller. So who wants to sell this property, going under contract on it, and then basically partnering it up with the buyer. You're basically being the middleman or woman on the transaction to connect it with somebody who wants to buy it as a rental property, fix and flip, Airbnb, whatever they decide to do with it.
So typically we've got a seller who is distressed or has a high motivation for whatever reason.
Yep.
And you typically have a buyer who is an investor. Mm-hmm. Rarely is it a seller who's not seriously motivated and a buyer who's like a consumer. It's typically motivation and an investor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the key is, as a wholesaler, it's like, okay, what do I know an investor will buy it at?
Yep.
And then how low can I get it while still achieving the seller's goals in the sale, whatever that is?
Yep.
That's
exactly right.
What do you do first, chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Do you get the buyer? Do you get the seller? What do you do first?
Yeah, a lot of people always ask that question, and I always say, buyers don't come into the equation or matter until you have a deal. Mm-hmm. You can call 50,000 buyers and build a list of 100,000 buyers, but the truth of the matter is, if you don't have a deal, they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care to talk to you, but their relationship, they're like, okay, send me a deal, right? So you go out, you build this massive buyers list with no deals. By the time you bring them a deal, they may not even be in the market to buy anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I always tell people, look, go get a deal. The buyer's going to find you. They have the motivation to buy because that's the way they feed their family more than likely. Fixing and flipping, buying and holding, that's the way they provide. So you're basically bringing them income. Yeah. So when you have a deal, there's going to be buyers that hit you up and find you.
Yeah. I tell new agents who are looking at that and they don't know which one to do. Should I go get a buy? I don't want to lock it up until I know.
Yeah.
What I tell people is there's so much money out there that you have no idea. The deal is the hard part.
Yes.
You bring the deal, we'll find the money. The money's easy.
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of what I tell agents. Like, you want to go do this, you want to find a deal for an investor, you want to wholesale, the deal is first. Go find the deal. And if you got nobody, call me, call Tez. Get on Facebook and say, I got a deal.
Yep.
You'll get blown up with people.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's good.
Yep.
So the idea is buy a house here, even though you know you can sell it here. Yep. Why would a seller do that? Are you going in some old lady's home and beating her over the head and taking her money from under her mattress? What's happening?
Yeah, man. So although people think that's what happens, that's not what happens, man. And I always refer it to like an as-is pair of shoes, like an as-is vehicle or used car, right? You're not going to pay top dollar for something that needs work or has been lived in. Yeah. So most times people are in high stress or high motivated situations. Either someone has passed away in the family, like a probate situation, inherited property, tired landlord, foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, divorce, all these different motivating factors that would make a person have to sell their property for a low amount. Fast, right? And oftentimes what will happen is sometimes maybe they will call a real estate agent, but that agent comes in and tells them all the things they have to do to the house. Or maybe they're looking at the houses that are selling around them and they're seeing that they got granite countertops and all this stuff, and they don't have the money. They don't have the money to fix it up to sell it at the max value. So they understand that. So they're going to just sell it in as-is condition. And that's where a wholesaler comes in, buys it in as-is condition with the anticipation to have the buyer fix it up, things like that.
Yeah, connecting the dots there.
Yes.
And that's what so many people, there's a million situations. And that the agent's never been in those conversations. An agent or a consumer never been in that conversation. They don't know why or who or when people would want to have that situation. But sometimes it's more important to get rid of a property than it is to make an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Yeah. Timing might be important. Like you said, divorce or death, there's a million things. Plus, if you've got a house that needs work, as a real estate agent, I'm going to come in and I'm going to put the seller in the best position to sell their home, which means paint the walls, replace the countertops, fix the leaky sink, fix all this stuff. Otherwise, we're going to have to sell a discount because someone's going to want some sweat equity for making those repairs. And that's where the wholesaler has those people and the seller doesn't. And if you're not an investor, a homeowner should not take on a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 remodel.
Yeah.
If you're not an investor, that will get out of hand. You will pick the wrong things. A contractor will screw you up. Something You shouldn't do it if you're just a homeowner trying to sell a house.
Absolutely.
Everyone watches HGTV and think they can flip a house.
Hey, man, dude.
And if, unless you're an investor, have connections, a homeowner trying to make a little extra equity by spending $6, $7, $8 grand, it's never going to go right. Ever, hardly. So that's where wholesalers like, okay, don't do anything. Let me max out what you can get now without doing anything. Less closing costs, blah, blah, blah. That's perfect. 100%. So I think that's the biggest thing, especially talking with like real estate agents or people in the public. They just, before I understood what it was and the utility of it, it's like, I'm going to go rip this person off and then rip this person off. And it's like, no, there's a service there. Investors will pay for it and homeowners need the service. It's about, like you said, building a relationship. I just watched a TikTok video from Tez. He says wholesaling is the way to go. What do I don't have any money. How do I start in real estate investing if I've got like $500?
Yeah, man. If you got $500, it's gonna 100% take some sweat equity, right? It's gonna take some hustle. It's gonna take some grind, and you're gonna have to get out there and do it, because a lot of guys are right now spending 10 times that amount per month just to get in contact with these people by hiring cold callers, sending text messages, doing all the things that cost money. So when you hear people say you can do it without money, it's very true. You can go out, door knock, and get a person who wants to sell their house. It's very, very possible. But is it scalable? And can you do it without hard work? No. So where are you going to give? Is it you diving in and investing more money in systems and processes and things like that? Or is it you hustling, right? Because if you go put enough hustling, you can definitely make it happen with no money. So,
I heard something recently talking about a startup, but when you're starting something up, investing or a business or whatever, you have to do things that are not scalable to get to a point where you can start to use some scale, have some cash, right? And I think, driving for dollars is a big thing that people coach new wholesalers to do. Driving through bad neighborhoods, calling the owner, or not bad neighborhoods, look for a bad house. That roof's bad, overgrown, broken windows, whatever, calling the house. Is that where you'd get started, or would you invest a little bit of money in like cold calling, just circle prospecting neighborhoods, or like what would you, if you had no money and you wanted to get a deal fast, what would you go to?
Man, I would 100% go door knock.
Okay.
I would go to those challenge areas. I would give me some bandit signs or some door hangers. Door hangers with my company logo. If I only had $500, that's what I would do. I would go invest in a lot of door hangers and go door knock. Knock on doors, figure out if people want to sell their house, right? And if it's a dilapidated house and it needs work and there's a renter there, that's one of the biggest things you run into. Or walls. Is I ask the renter, have they thought about selling it? Can you put me in contact with the person? Just have conversations and you'll learn real quick.
If I'm a real estate agent, how can I benefit from the knowledge of how to wholesale or what a wholesale is? How can a real estate agent benefit from knowing this information?
Man, there's numbers of ways a real estate agent can actually benefit. Okay, I say the most obvious is if you're a realtor out there and you're like, I don't want to wholesale, so why would I need this information? I think one of the biggest reasons is being able to educate a seller, because you need to know exactly what's going down, especially if you have a house that's sitting on the market. Let's say you do take on that house, right, and you list it as is, and you try to see if you can sell it. If an offer comes in and it's a wholesale offer, you need to know exactly what questions to ask to help your seller sell that house, right? To assure you're locking this deal up with somebody who is legit, and you can ask those probing questions to help this property sell. It still has to sell, right? So that's one. Two is you can actually close more deals. Okay, and the reason I say that is because if you do walk into that property and you don't have a large list of cash buyers, but you know wholesalers in town, right, and you don't want to list it because it's a representation of your brand, but you still want to help this person out, call up one of those wholesalers, one of those people ask them the right questions and see if they can get a cash offer on this person's house, right, get a referral fee, things like that. So those are like the first two that come to mind when talking about it. Number three, and honestly, one of the largest oversights is become a wholesaler.
That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah, like you don't if you don't want to, that's fine. But I need you to know, as a real estate agent, you have a superpower as a real estate agent, because most wholesalers don't have their license, right? So their data that they're pulling, they're not using the MLS a lot of times. They're using passed over data, like Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, these third-party companies. And not all information is syndicated all the time. So you can pull comps and see information that sometimes a wholesaler will miss. They can help your offer be competitive. That's one. But two, if you're there with a person and you're talking to them and you come in saying, hey, I can give you options. Because here's the truth. Most people want to sell their house, they want options. Right? So if you're able to offer them more, kind of like a menu, you're more than likely going to get the deal. Hey, here's my cash offer. If you don't like that, we can listen and see what we can get. And that's just the truth. And who knows? You just maximize your opportunity to get this deal.
Yeah.
So,
there's a segment of properties that are kind of right in no man's land for buyers. So it's like if it's priced too high for an investor to make money on it, but needs too much work for a consumer to purchase, I think there's like a weird area there where you can really benefit home sellers.
Yeah.
It's like either make the repairs and make it nicer so that a homeowner doesn't have to do it, or let's get with a wholesaler, let's find out what someone can offer you now, reduce a lot of the fees involved with it, and you can get the house moved. But if it's right in the middle there's no buyers for that.
Yeah.
There's very few consumers, owner occupants, that will come in and renovate a property and then live in it.
Yeah.
Very few.
Yeah.
And so if you're kind of in that spot where it's like it's a good house, just needs work, then let's find, you can give that option. I like the way you said that, an option of another thing to do. So kind of back to getting started as a wholesaler. So if I'm brand new, maybe I have a bunch of money, maybe I have no money. That's kind of the first thing you mentioned. So if I'm brand new, wanting to start in wholesaling today, what would you tell me to go do today?
I would tell you, if you have absolutely no knowledge, you need a mentor. You need somebody to help you kind of pass over some of those learning curves and gaps. And shameless plug, that's what I do. I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, and I teach wholesalers how to do it. We're now up to about 120 active wholesalers in my coaching program now, learning this stuff. So I'm teaching it because I've done it. Brett, you actually bought a deal from us.
I bought
sure.
two
deals from us.
A year ago. Yeah,
a lot of guys has bought home from us in the metro area. So we've been doing it, And if a person wants to learn more about it and just book a call, calls are free, So you can hit me up on Instagram at Tez Arbertha, so at TezArbertha, and I'd love to talk to you more about how you can learn about wholesaling to see if it's something you even want to do.
Getting a mentor is one of the most important. If you're trying anything new. When I got my real estate license and started getting into the real estate industry, I found a mentor. If you're doing anything new, you've got to find mentors. Nowadays, you can get on YouTube and find all kinds of stuff, but having someone local in your market that started in the market you're in, geographically and time-wise, things change. If you're watching a YouTube video from 10 years ago, the same things aren't working today that were working 10 years ago, right? So having a mentor that's a real life person that you can bounce ideas off, you're not in it alone, you're not trying to figure it out on your own, you're not having to recreate the wheel, regardless of what you're getting into, sales or wholesaling or investing, whatever. Having a mentor is so important. So I think that's very important. So, well, I hope this was helpful, guys. This was just a crash course. Hopefully in the future, Tez and I are going to do some more dive into different investing strategies and wholesaling and the sub-twos and then buy and holds and flips. And
Absolutely.
so I hope this was helpful. If you have any other questions, reach out to Tez, reach out to myself. We talk about real estate all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's our job. We love it. So don't hesitate to reach out, and we'd love to help you out.
Yep. See you later.
All right.